Who caught that boy? Just stretch that boy. Who caught that boy? I'm him.
I ain't never seen that man with Young Boy before that shit happened with V-Roy. You see what I'm saying? It's like he using that like as a face card to be around him, like to make them look a little tough. You see what I'm saying?
OBlock is fired up after Lul. Tim disses King Von again. Every time folks think this story finally burned out, Lil Tim comes crashing back onto the internet like he's striking a match inside a gas station with both hands. It's reckless, it's loud, and it's the kind of move you only make if you're either fearless or you've completely stopped caring about consequences. It's wild, absolutely wild, how he pops out of nowhere and instantly stirs up a feud that most people were praying would stay buried. A feud that already claimed lives, destroyed friendships, split fan bases, and scarred entire neighborhoods. But Tim, he moves like none of that matters. And this time, this might be the boldest stunt he's ever pulled since the night everything changed, because really, who does something like this and expects to walk away clean? And more importantly, how long before somebody answers back?
How long until this old wound gets ripped open again?
Let's slow down and talk about what truly shoved this entire situation back into the spotlight, because it didn't start with a diss track, a rumor, or a leaked message. It started with a video, a TikTok. One single clip, but a clip explosive enough to shake hip-hop like a lightning bolt. Videos started flying across TikTok and IG, short edits, screen recordings, reposts, reaction cam videos, all showing Lil Tim chanting the most disrespectful lines from a brand new NBA YoungBoy track. And these weren't light jabs or sneaky subs. Nah. There were no metaphors, no coded disses, no lines fans had to decode. This was raw, unfiltered, chest-out disrespect, aimed straight at King Von's name, delivered into the camera like Tim was daring the entire—
Caught that boy. Just stretch that boy. Who caught that boy? I'm him.
You got on that plate that's hot smoking like that.
Caught it instantly. People didn't watch this like some regular TikTok. They watched it like a warning sign, a threat, a line being crossed. Some folks replayed it, zoomed in, slowed it down, analyzing his face, his tone, his body language. Others didn't need analysis. The disrespect was obvious. It hit hard and fast. But before we peel this whole mess apart and dive into how deep this rabbit hole goes, make sure you hit that like button, because today's breakdown is one of the craziest we've covered all year. Seriously, this situation is layered, emotional, spiritual, and dangerous all at once. And the timing? The timing is the part that sent everyone into chaos. Now let's rewind. We gotta go back to the day everything shifted. Not just for OBlock, not just for Chicago, but for modern hip-hop as a whole. November 6th, 2020, a date that still haunts Chicago like a ghost you can't shake off. King Von, a rising star, a respected street figure, and someone many saw as OBlock royalty, lost his life outside an Atlanta hookah lounge after a confrontation that spiraled out of control. That night didn't just create headlines, it froze the culture. It numbed the city. It broke hearts across the country. Fans felt it. Artists felt it. Entire neighborhoods felt it. You could feel the shift in the air. The energy around hip-hop was different after that night.
And at the center of it all was Lil Tim, Quando Rondo's closest partner, the man who fired the shot that ended Von's life. Tim claimed it was self-defense. The courts backed him, charges were dropped. On paper, the case was closed.
But here's the thing. The courts and the streets live by two completely different rule books. The courts accepted the story. But the streets never accepted it. Not then. Not now. Not ever. And that's why this entire feud feels like a volcano waiting for the next spark. For 5 long years, this situation sat on low simmer. Quiet tension. Under-the-breath disses. Subliminal bar.
Do you understand the whole situation or what?
I understand, but it's like, all right, you did what you did, okay.
Because
cool.
I heard, not to cut you off, but I heard a lot of people from y'all side getting that, nah, he
As some people saying he did with like.
No, but he'll do what any street do if he got to defend his people. But it's like, all right, you did what you did. That's cool. All right, boom. The police was involved. You got off, bro. It ain't like you did some street shit and like it's just left in the streets. That shit on some police shit too. At the same time, you get what I'm saying? Like, do shit. Like, it's a difference from doing some street shit and the motherfucker know you did some street shit, right? And your name, you in the streets, like, your name ring or whatever. But you did some street shit, whatever, you claim, but the police was involved in that shit. But it's like, I don't like the way he go about it, like, be flexing and shit. Like, don't act like you did some shit and just got away, like, off the chain, like, off that. Like, bro, this ain't, like, it's some shit I can't even say. But it's like, I don't like how certain, I don't like.
He didn't hide behind metaphors or play the innocent bystander role. He went straight for the jugular. Now, before we dig into the timing, and trust me, the timing is everything, you gotta understand why King Von's name still carries so much weight. Von wasn't just another Chicago rapper trying to make it out. He was a product of the trenches who rose into leadership. He wasn't just followed, he was respected. He didn't just rap about the streets. He lived through them long before his music blew up. He had a reputation before he had a fan base. People who knew him always said the same thing. Von wasn't industry made, he was environment built. And that matters, because when Von died, OBlock didn't just lose a rapper, they lost a voice. They lost someone who motivated them. Someone who pulled the younger generation forward. Someone who opened doors that had been locked for years. Someone who had just started changing his life and the lives of the people around him. So when someone disrespects Von's name, that's not just a diss. That's a direct shot toward people still grieving, people still healing, people who feel like justice never came. And that's why this entire situation is so sensitive, so explosive, and so dangerous.
Humble, gang. You see what I'm saying? I feel like he ain't humble about that shit, like, cause the same way like you did what you did, that shit could happen to you too, gang. Like on some easy shit. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Bro, you got lucky. You did what you did. You defended you stood your ground, whatever. But it's like, it's just the way like had be playing out now, like all that on stage and okay, you
tough, like
yeah, gang. Like I don't be liking that gang, cause
bro was gangster.
Bro was a gangster. This is what I'm saying.
He died a gangster.
Ain't doing no like with shit like that, bro. It's like, bro, you got lucky, really, bro. Like it ain't like you was on no. You ain't finna face this man face to face and just, you got lucky, his back was...
The most disrespectful lines of the entire freestyle, the exact lines that had people online already fuming. He didn't smirk. He didn't downplay it. He didn't dance around the message. He looked directly into the camera and delivered those lines like he was speaking to OBlock personally. The confidence, wild. The delivery, ruthless. But the timing? That's where everything turned pitch black. Because Tim didn't pick a random day to drop this video. He didn't choose a neutral moment. He picked the exact same date King Von died, November 6th. Not a week later, not as a coincidence, not months down the line. The same date, 5 years later, and that alone would have sent social media into flames. But then the story twisted again. Darker, stranger, almost surreal. Word spread that Lil Tim's grandfather passed away on November 6, 2025, the same day Tim posted the TikTok, and the same date Von died 5 years earlier. Talk about eerie timing. Talk about a moment that feels too perfect to be random. Talk about something that shook the internet to its core. Within hours, fans launched into theory mode. Is this karma? Is this spiritual revenge? Is Von watching from somewhere else? Is this the universe balancing itself? People weren't just reacting. They were investigating, connecting dots, digging into past posts, looking for symbolism, posting breakdowns like detectives analyzing evidence. And that wasn't even the peak of it, because as soon as that TikTok began gaining traction, OBlock snapped back. Fast. Muna Iki, one of the loudest, clearest voices since Von passed, jumped online immediately. And he didn't whisper, he didn't dodge, he didn't sugarcoat. He spoke like someone carrying years of built-up frustration on his back. He said Tim had been using Von's death as a pass to stand beside NBA YoungBoy. That Tim wasn't around YB before the situation. That the timing of their friendship felt too convenient, too strategic. too suspicious. In Ike's eyes, Tim wasn't YB's day one, wasn't built with him, wasn't part of the original circle. Tim's relevance, according to Ike, started after the tragedy. And when Ike said that, it hit like a sledgehammer. He didn't stop there either. He went deeper. He said Tim wasn't moving like a respected street figure. He wasn't making noise before that night. He wasn't feared, known, or influential. He was just Kwando's guy who happened to be armed at the wrong time. And that line? That line shook social media. But the coldest moment came when Ike said, "You didn't beat the streets, you beat the legal system. That's not the same thing." That quote spread everywhere. Fans clipped it, ops reposted it, blog pages amplified it, because that line tore away the myth that Tim had built up, the myth of being untouchable. Ike's final message? Stay humble, because the same energy Tim brags about could come back and hit him just as easy. That's not trolling. That's grief talking. That's pain talking. That's loyalty talking. Meanwhile, Tim stayed silent. But that silence, it wasn't calming the situation. If anything, it made everything worse. Now here's where things start twisting in ways most people never heard about. Because the truth is, the version of the story that spread across social media after Von died was never the real picture. Not even close. According to multiple OBlock voices, the narrative the internet decided to run with came from split-second clips, half-understood angles, and fans choosing whichever version made their favorite side look stronger. A lot of people built their opinions from 10-second videos, one-sentence headlines, and rumors that bounced around before anyone even knew what really happened. But the people from OBlock, the ones who were connected to Von, who knew his habits, who understood how he moved, say that night was way more complicated, way more chaotic, and way more misunderstood than the internet ever portrayed it to be. They claim Von wasn't even approaching that situation with the level of aggression people online believed. They said the clips made him look like he was charging into chaos without thinking, but in reality, the situation had tension long before those cameras even pointed in that direction. The internet exaggerated the moment, blew it up, twisted it, and turned Von into the aggressor in a few seconds of footage that didn't show the full buildup. OBlock insiders argue that Von wasn't on the type of timing the blogs tried to paint. They said he wasn't blindly trying to start something. They said the energy that night was complicated, heated, emotional, unpredictable, but not the one-dimensional story the internet ran with. And when they talk about Lil Tim, they don't describe the version that social media later created. They don't call him some fearless street leader or someone who walked into that moment with dominance. They describe someone acting out of fear and loyalty, someone reacting to protect his friend, not someone stepping up out of strategic strength, someone caught in the split-second panic of watching people rush at his partner and making a decision that would change everything. But once the legal system cleared him, everything shifted. The internet grabbed a hold of the idea that Tim defended his boy, and the blogs turned him into an unexpected hero for one side and an unexpected villain for the other. Suddenly, Tim wasn't just Kwando's quiet partner who stayed low and moved in the background. He was being treated like an overnight street icon, someone who had stood his ground in a moment of chaos. And from OBlock's perspective, that image was completely false. The more still here, still watching, still loyal. Some posts were subtle, some were direct. All of them were clear. Meanwhile, Youngboy's side stayed silent publicly. No responses, no clarifications, no statements. But behind closed doors, reports started spreading that Youngboy's team increased security around Tim. Not because Tim asked for it, because the tension was growing, because the internet wasn't arguing anymore. They were anticipating something, and the people around Tim didn't want history repeating itself. Then came the November 6th twist, the part that hit people deeper than any lyric or TikTok ever could. King Von died on November 6th, 2020. Everyone knows that date. Everyone remembers it. But then, 5 years later, on November 6th, 2025, Lil Tim's grandfather passed away, The exact same day Tim posted that disrespectful TikTok. The exact same day Von lost his life. The exact same date with 2 tragedies attached to it. People online didn't treat that like a coincidence. They treated it like a sign, like something spiritual snapped back, like the universe echoed what happened years earlier. Some fans called it karma. Some called it divine justice. Some said Von was sending a message. Others said the timing was too exact to ignore. And then things got even heavier when people started saying Tim's grandfather was the man who raised him when his parents couldn't. Losing someone that close on the exact date tied to the moment that changed Tim's life? People didn't just see tragedy, they saw symbolism. And once that news spread, Chicago responded instantly. OBlock members flooded their stories with warnings, not threats, but statements that carried weight. We hear, we don't forget. Everything comes back around. V still living through us. And then came something almost nobody expected. Artists from other parts of Chicago, even people who didn't always get along with OBlock, started agreeing. Even dudes connected to FBG Duck's side spoke up, saying the TikTok crossed a line. And when 2 sides of Chicago that never agree on anything both say something was disrespectful, the message hits differently. Things got so tense that multiple promoters quietly canceled NBA YoungBoy shows. They didn't want the risk. They didn't want unpredictable energy showing up. They didn't want retaliation moments happening on stage or in parking lots or outside venues. They made decisions without naming names, but everyone knew who they were thinking about. Even inside the music industry, people started whispering about whether Tim was becoming too dangerous to stand next to, whether he was a liability, whether being in the same room as him could turn into a news headline. Because once real-life street situations become social media content, the line between entertainment and danger disappears. Back then, beefs stayed in alleys and blocks. Now they live on TikTok and Instagram. One clip can shake entire cities. Tim had a chance to stay low, to live quietly, to avoid everything. But he didn't. He poked the bear again and again until the bear woke up angry. And that's the scary part. This feud hasn't died down in 5 years. Every time it cools off, someone reignites it. This time it was Tim. Next time, nobody knows. Once November 6th entered the conversation again, everything changed. This wasn't just rap. This wasn't just drama. This wasn't just online beef. It became emotional, spiritual, unpredictable. The kind of tension that makes cities pay attention. The kind that makes police add patrols. The kind that makes fans nervous. The kind that keeps the industry on edge. Zooming out, this whole situation shows something bigger about drill culture. It swallows young men whole. Von had the talent to change everything. Tim had the chance to step away. YoungBoy and Dirk had the power to shift the narrative. But old grudges, old pain, and real loyalty kept pulling everyone back into a cycle that started long before they were even born. And social media doesn't help. It amplifies everything. It speeds everything up. It makes everything permanent. Von was just entering his prime. Tim is still young. Both could have built families, companies, legacies, but one night turned them into symbols of 2 different worlds. Tim might have acted out of loyalty that night, but that moment put a target on his back that will follow him forever. And the November 6th connection? Nobody can fully explain that part. Coincidence? Karma? Spiritual balance? Something deeper? All we know is this: Tim's TikTok didn't just start drama. It dragged him back into Chicago street politics, back into OBlock's scope, back into the most dangerous spotlight he's ever stood in. And now the question isn't, will something happen? The real question is, when? And who makes the first move? Let me know what you think. Was Lil Tim wrong for posting that TikTok? Or was he just speaking his mind? As for the November 6th situation, coincidence or something much deeper? Drop your thoughts below. Before you slide out, hit that like button, share this with your people, and subscribe so you never miss another breakdown. The streets don't sleep. and neither do we. We'll catch you in the next one right here at Beef Scandals, where the truth of the streets lives. The streets lives. The streets lives.